What's up? Welcome to today's episode of 5 Pillar Mobility. Thanks so much for joining us today. Let's start by finding a nice comfy spot on your mat. Take some attention to your breath. And don't worry about changing your breath, just notice it. Notice the breath, depth, the pacing, the sensations of it. And we'll just slowly start to mold that breath into the right shape and the right pace that helps you relax. And we know when we slow that breath down, it tends to help us get into that parasympathetic state where our mind can relax, where we can start to let go of stress, start to recover, and heal. Just keeping your attention on your breathing. If you like counting your breath, count. Feel free to do that. That'll be done on your own. And if you have been doing that, try to remain progressive and slowly start to transition to longer breathing, a longer count on the inhale, a brief hold, a nice longer count on the exhale. Just being conscious to not getting into a rhythm of breath that causes any kind of anxiety. This has to happen at the pace that your body's ready for. You definitely don't want to add any stress. That's the opposite of what we want. Let's take one more breath here, and as you let go of that breath, we'll shift to the left hamstring. So we find this works best sitting on a hard surface, whether that's a coffee table or a chair or a harder couch or a plyo box. Placing that lacrosse ball under your left hamstring, start panning through the hamstring, looking for what needs attention, what type of attention it needs to relieve that tension, and exactly how much tension we need. And you're the only person that's going to know that. Do some experimenting. Settle into the right amount of stimulus, the right type of stimulus, and then settle back to your breath. It's really powerful to sync your breathing to your mind and to the target tissue. As you let go of air, imagine letting go of tension, stress, and anything specific around the hamstring. Challenging yourself to turn off any muscle we don't need. Mentally staying in your happy place. Slowly shifting into a deeper state of calm. Let's take one more breath here. And we'll switch sides. Let's pan through that right hamstring. Look for what needs attention on this side. It may be tense in the exact same spot. It might be very different. Just try not to be complacent. Keep doing your search. Find what needs the most attention. And be sensitive to how much stimulus it needs to relieve the tension in that tissue. And again, settling back to your breath every chance you get. We know that diaphragmatic breathing is a nice, powerful tool for getting your body into recovery mode. We know that nasal breathing helps us get into a deeper state of recovery, a deeper state of calm. And that may not be true for everybody, so keep experimenting. Fall into whatever kind of routine helps you find that noticeable state of being relaxed. And every chance we get, panning through your body, looking for what might be tense that does not need to be. Might be your face, your head, your neck. Let's take one more breath here. And we'll shift into the left TFL. The TFL sits along the outside of the crease of your hip. And if the anatomy is not your jam, don't worry about the names of the exact location. Just do some searching on the left side, that outer part of your hip. And a small change in position and posture can really change how this feels. But do a little experimenting. Try to avoid settling into your comfort zone if you've been doing this for a while and you have a spot you like to go to. Keep rotating through other spots that may be tense that you haven't been giving attention to. And once you've settled into that right spot, take your attention back to your breath, consciously finding calm. Mentally go into your happy place. Bearing in mind that we do want this program to be progressive. We never want to get into pain, but you can get more aggressive as the tissues get used to it. And the deeper pressure we get, the deeper tissue release we get, and potentially the better benefit we get. Let's take one more breath here. And as you let go of that breath, we'll shift to the right side. So panning through that right TFL area. Again, just to the outside, that lateral portion of the crease of your hip. Looking for what needs attention. Really experimenting with how we're leaning on that lacrosse ball to apply that pressure, to relieve that tension. And again, we want to find the right happy medium place where we are starting to relieve tension without getting into pain, without other muscles spasming or tensing up on us. Just be sensitive to what your body needs, and that's going to be different for everyone. Your version of this may look a lot different than the video. That's totally fine. The video is there to guide you. Your body's there to help you refine. And again, consciously scanning, letting go of any tension around your body, consciously trying to find a deeper state of relaxing, maintaining that nice quality diaphragmatic breath and nasal breathing. Let's take one more breath here. And as you exhale, we'll shift into the left supine hip internal rotation. So that's kind of a mouthful. Let's start by sitting up with your knees bent around 90 degrees. You're going to bend your knees off to your right side so they're both around 90 degrees, and stack your right foot on top of your left knee. We're going to bias this into some hip extension by leaning backwards. And as we do that, just being sensitive to how your body's responding. There should be zero pain in the knee. If you have any pain at all, just shuffle your position, changing the angle of your knee or your hip, or how much we are leaning backwards. If leaning backwards adds any kind of discomfort, don't worry about it. You don't need to mold your position into exactly what you see in the video. Just let it guide you. And in a few seconds, we'll gently get active by pressing that left heel into the floor. Let's go ahead, starting with nice, easy tension, attempting to reverse the stretch, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Imagine trying to pull the heel off the ground or the knee closer to the floor. Ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Get back in your passive position. If you find yourself in a level of pain or any discomfort, just shuffle your position until there's no joint pain, and find that version of this stretch that works well for your body. Getting as passive as we can. We're relaxing through those hips, keeping focus on your breath. One more breath here. Let's sigh out that breath, and we'll shift to the right side. just reorienting your hips to the opposite side. If you start seated, the legs at 90. Let the knees fall out to your left side. Stack your left foot on top of your right knee. And be conscious to get into the right position that feels right. Should be zero pain in the knee. We want to target the hip. And we're going to bias that extension by gently leaning the torso back. If you have the comfort and the mobility for it, feel free to lean all the way back. And then getting as passive as we can, just submitting to the stretch. As you exhale your breath, imagine letting go of tension with your breath. And shortly here, we will get active by pressing that right heel down into the floor, attempting to reverse the stretch. And let's go ahead, starting with nice easy tension, attempting to rotate your right heel into the floor, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Attempting to pull the heel off of the floor or actively rotating the knee closer to the floor. Both will do the same thing, ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here for the end. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Get nice and passive. Submit to the stretch. Getting as passive as you can. Letting go of any stress. Mentally living in your happy place. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll transition into a frog stretch. So if we start in tabletop and spread the knees apart, just let those hips sink closer to your mat. Find that stretch through the groin, the inner thighs. And find whatever level of stretch feels right for today. Again, being conscious to not getting into a position of pain. It's a hard rule. Pain is a sign we need to stop or change. And be sensitive to that. Your body will always give you clues to whether you're on the right track. Focus on getting as passive as we can, turning off any muscle we don't need. Zeroing in on your breath, helping yourself find calm. And shortly here, we will get active by imagining pulling the knees closer together. And let's go ahead, starting with gentle pressure, attempting to lift the hips by squeezing the knees closer together, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Actively trying to pull the knees further apart, pulling the hips closer to the floor, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last few. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Get nice and passive. Back into your basic frog stretch. Letting go of any tension. Consciously scanning through your body, looking for what may be tense right now, that we can just hit that off switch and get nice and passive. And let's take one more breath here. And as you sigh out that breath, we'll shift our attention to the left forearm flexor. So we'll go palm down on your lacrosse ball and just work your way through your left forearm. You can use your right hand to add or take away tension. Just add as much tension as your body's telling you it needs. Find whatever area of your forearm needs your attention. Find the version of this that your body's going to benefit from most today. Once you've settled into that stimulus, settle back to a nice calming rhythm of breath. Just clearing your mind of any stress or tension. Getting as passive as you can mentally while we actively apply this pressure. Consciously attempting to get soft through your palm, through that whole left arm, while we attempt to relieve this tension. And let's take one more good quality breath. Breathe that air deep into the diaphragm. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll move into the right side. Let's go palm down with your right arm, panning through your right forearm with that lacrosse ball. Applying that tension using your left hand. And if you're directly over the lacrosse ball, it's going to give you a good chance to add some good pressure on there. But again, just being conscious to how much pressure your body needs today. We don't want pain, we don't want numbness, we don't want tingling. Find that right happy medium level. It's going to give you relief. And every chance we get, circling back to your breath. Being conscious of the depth of your breath, the pacing of your breath. And if you found counting your breath helpful, you can feel free to do that the whole routine. Whatever pacing helps you relax. Staying nice and chill, letting go of any worries, turning off any tension, as much tension around your body as possible. Let's take one more breath here. As you let go of that breath, we'll transition to a wrist flexion stretch. So we're going to go palms up, fingers towards your knees from tabletop. Gently get some pressure to get a stretch through the top sides of your forearms. Being conscious to not getting into pain. Just whatever level of stretch feels right today. If the wrists are feeling good, the forearms are pretty flexible, you can gently lean your hips back towards your ankles to increase the stretch. And if it's too intense, even just being upright, you can keep a slight bend at the elbow. Or lean your torso slightly further forward. The version of this is going to be dependent completely on your own body. Just be sensitive to that. And in 10 seconds, we will gently get active by attempting to press the backs of your palms into the floor. And let's go ahead, starting with nice, easy tension. Pressing your hand into the floor, attempting to reverse the stretch. Let's add some big tension here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1, and let's gently reverse, attempting to actively pull yourself deeper into that stretch. Actively squeezing through those forearms. Let's finish with big tension here at the end. Really squeezing. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out. And getting nice and passive. Relaxing into that position. Turning off any muscle we don't need. Settling back into that nice, relaxing pace and depth of breath. Let's just take one more good quality breath. Direct that air deep. Feel that belly expand. Slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll call it a day. You are free for the day. Thanks for joining us here. Hope your body's feeling great. Hope you enjoyed the session. If you've been enjoying these sessions, please remember to subscribe and like, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.